Hello, beautiful people. Some doors hide stories you would never guess, and some silence hides more than words ever could. The silent neighbor's secret. Ethan had only been living in his new apartment for 2 weeks when he first noticed the empty balcony across from his. The curtains were always drawn, the windows locked, and the lights never seemed to flicker on, not even once. The strange part was, someone lived there. At least, that's what the landlord had told him. An old man, quiet, kept to himself. But the way the neighbors spoke about him made Ethan uneasy. They lowered their voices whenever they mentioned him, as if afraid the man could somehow hear through walls. At night, Ethan sometimes thought he saw a shadow moving behind those heavy curtains. Once, he caught the faint sound of a chair scraping across the floor. Another night, he swore he saw the glow of a candle flicker and disappear. He laughed it off at first, telling himself he was just imagining things. But then, a plain white envelope appeared outside his door. No name, no writing, no stamp. Just his apartment number written neatly in black ink. Ethan's heart thumped as he picked it up. The paper felt oddly warm, as if it had been held tightly in someone's hands before being placed there. He opened it quickly, expecting a message, a warning, something. But it was empty, completely blank. The next morning, another envelope appeared. Again, blank. By now, Ethan couldn't ignore it. He started watching the corridor at night, waiting to see who left them. But no one ever came. The only apartment opposite his was the silent neighbor's. Something about that apartment made his skin crawl. Why would a man live in complete darkness? Why leave strange, empty envelopes? Why did the neighbors never dare speak his name? One night, Ethan decided he would stay awake until morning. He sat by his window, staring across at the closed curtains. Hours passed. Midnight. 1 o'clock. 2. Nothing. And then, a single curtain shifted, just for a second, long enough for Ethan to see an outline, the shape of someone watching him back. Ethan stumbled away from the window, his chest tightening. Who was this man? Why was he watching him? The next day, he asked the lady downstairs if she knew anything. She frowned, her voice barely above a whisper. Best you stay away from that one. People say he hasn't spoken to anyone in years. Some say he writes messages but never sends them. Others say he's waiting. For what, nobody knows. That night, Ethan found not one, but 3 envelopes at his door. All blank. He almost threw them away, but curiosity gnawed at him. He placed them neatly on his desk, staring at them as though they might suddenly reveal their secret. The following evening, something strange happened. Just after dusk, when the building was quiet, he heard a soft knock at his door. Ethan froze. Another envelope, he thought. But when he opened the door, no one was there. Only one of the blank envelopes slid halfway across the floor. He bent down to pick it up, and for the first time he noticed something different. Against the light, faint indentations pressed into the paper. Someone had written on it and then erased the words. Ethan rushed inside, tilted the envelope under his lamp, and squinted. Slowly, faint words emerged. "Help me." His blood ran cold. The next few nights became a torment. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every sound in the corridor made him jump. More envelopes came, each with faint traces of erased writing, half words, broken sentences. He managed to make out fragments. "Can't speak. They think I'm gone. Please listen." Ethan didn't know what to believe. Was the neighbor dangerous or trapped? Finally, his curiosity overcame his fear. One evening, he decided to knock on the silent neighbor's door. For a long moment, nothing. Then, the faintest shuffle of feet. The door creaked open just a crack. A pair of tired, sunken eyes peered out at him. Ethan's voice shook. I keep finding your envelopes." The old man's eyes darted to the floor. He didn't speak. Instead, with trembling hands, he held out a notebook. On the first page, written in shaky letters, "Come in, please." Inside, Ethan found the apartment dimly lit by candles. Dust lay thick on the furniture. Stacks of papers and envelopes covered every surface. The old man scribbled quickly in the notebook and showed it. "My name is Mr. Caldwell. Cannot speak. My voice was lost years ago." He flipped the page. "People think I am strange. They avoid me, but I am not dangerous." Ethan felt his chest loosen a little, though his hands still shook. "Why the envelopes?" he asked softly. The man's eyes welled with tears. "I was a teacher. I once loved words. But after my wife died, I could not bring myself to write letters anymore. I tried to start again, but the pages stayed empty. I leave them outside, hoping someone will notice. Hoping someone will care enough to ask." Ethan stared at him, speechless. All the fear he had felt melted into something else. Guilt, sorrow, compassion. The silent neighbor wasn't a monster. He was a man drowning in grief, too broken to reach out in any other way. Over the weeks that followed, Ethan visited often. They began to communicate through scribbled notes and gestures. Slowly, Mr. Caldwell opened up about his past. How he had once been full of life. How laughter filled this very apartment when his wife was alive. How silence had become unbearable after she was gone. Ethan realized the envelopes had never been about scaring anyone. They were cries for connection. Blank because the words had died inside him. One afternoon, Ethan brought a pen and paper and sat beside him. "Write," he said gently. "Write anything, even if it hurts." At first, the old man refused. His hand shook too much. But with Ethan's encouragement, he began again. One word, then another, until finally, the words poured out. Memories, regrets, love he never stopped feeling. And for the first time in years, Mr. Caldwell smiled. The neighbors, once whispering in fear, now began to greet him when Ethan walked beside him. The curtains of his apartment were drawn open. Light returned. Ethan never received another blank envelope. Instead, he received pages filled with words, short stories, poems, memories written in shaky handwriting, but with a heart that had finally found its voice again. The silent neighbor's secret wasn't darkness or danger. It was loneliness. And Ethan had uncovered it, not with suspicion, but with patience and kindness. Sometimes listening changes everything, both theirs and yours.